we have this great text that came out of the group, The Four Phases of Freedom, so that no one ever gets lost along this approach. Anybody who's sincere already has looked at that and has deciphered, decoded the Dzogchen approach, which is recognizing awareness as the nature of mind, familiarizing with awareness, integrating your experiences into awareness, which is phase 2. And then phase 3, now that you're all nice and integrated, you can go into effortless abiding. So whatever's left of this dream can burn out on its own within your awareness. And you can just play, have fun, and there's still the exhaustion of karma. Mm-hmm. But typically what happens is that the 3 vows come into one fruition. So you have these Vinaya vows, basic things like not lying and stealing and not killing. And then you have the second set of vows, which is the Bodhisattva vows to benefit all beings, to liberate all beings. And so that makes no sense and is relatively unachievable until you get into Dzogchen, where all beings are revealed as primordial purity. So thus you have saved all beings. You have accomplished that ideal, that Bodhisattva ideal. But anyway, the second set of vows is the Bodhisattva vows. Then the third set of vows would be your tantric vows, or in our case, the 4 great Dzogchen samayas. And so the idea is that once you have exhausted your ignorance, your confusion and everything, then the vows are naturally held at the end, just like they were at the beginning, except this time they're not being held by any effort, any intention. You naturally don't, inappropriately kill or use inappropriate speech and things like that. You naturally, because you have the awareness practice there, the consciousness there. So you're able to fulfill all these vows without keeping any of them. Awareness is very powerful like that. It actually gets to the heart of the vow. So in Sutrayana, you may be proud of yourself because you're not killing, but you still have thoughts of killing. And to me, that's just the same. But in Dzogchen, the awareness practice will weed out even the thought of killing. The very seed of addictions will get weeded out. True. Excuse me. I ran out of water. I mean, just the bottle. I'm going to fill it back up after the session. But anyway, the very seed, the taproot of everything gets uprooted. And that typically gets associated with the conditioned self. So the conditioned self, that habit of apprehension, is very, very weak within awareness. Whereas before it was like an undertow, it would really take you in. I need to have this food. I need to have this drug or whatever it is. I need it. And that I need is taken out of the equation. Then there's just drugs. Just kidding. But the very taproot. And then there is just food. There's just whatever there. So the 3 vows, I'm just mentioning this because it's something that I reiterate every now and then. You are keeping your vows in Dzogchen. You are accomplishing the deity in Dzogchen. And I could go on, and I will in other sessions. So we're going to go into the root verses here for a little bit, though. Everybody good? The line turned blue. It was yellow. Got enlightened. Okay, so this is the way of abiding. Longchenpa's text from the 1300s. It says, non-duality is shown to be spontaneous presence. Remember, we're on the 3rd great samaya out of the 4 Dzogchen samayas. and that is spontaneous presence. So it says, moreover, the ground of being and the mode by which it arises as apparent phenomenon are by nature beyond being identical or separate, and are timelessly and spontaneously present, arising through the avenue of awareness. As the dynamic energy of its display, the two modes, samsara and nirvana, manifest distinctly as impure and pure. Yet even in manifesting, neither is better or worse, for they are of one basic space. Just remember, you can think of a dream. If you're dreaming of heaven or hell, either one is cognition. And there will never be a time in that dream where there isn't spontaneous presence. It's not like the mind that's having the dream takes a break and the dream can still keep going. No, the mind has to be purely present for the dream to exist. Just like when you go to the movies, the projector, it has to be sitting there projecting. If it stopped projecting for even a second, you wouldn't see any movie. So like that, the awareness is always purely present, but so is the dynamic energy. We just create the illusion of temporality and subjectivity and subdivision and all kinds of stuff. We create this illusion through constructs. And so temporal and spatial constructs enable the illusion to look like it's not a co-emergent, purely present display. Now it looks like it's linear and symmetrical. So that'll become more apparent in your awareness practice. Those of you who are familiarizing deeper with this shamatha vipassana aspect of Dzogchen, time will begin to fall away. You may find yourself using time less and still being able to somehow keep the time if you need to. But you're not grasping the time anymore. This is big. We can live without time. I'm actually 477 years old. Just kidding. Okay. So I think that's good. Just look to a dream if you're having trouble making the logic out of that. How co-emergence, pure presence can be a thing. So the auto commentary here is the ground of being, awareness, awakened mind, is supreme spontaneous presence, empty yet lucid. Man, that is a beautiful first line right there. If you ever have any issues understanding terminology, nomenclature, the ground of being, Shi, sometimes called Kunshi in Tibetan, is awareness. So awareness has these three aspects. It's empty of any substantiality, it's cognizant, and it has energy, dynamic, empty appearances. So, but it's saying the ground of being, awareness, awakened, all the same thing. It is spontaneous presence and defines it as empty. We can't find it anywhere, but there's a knowingness. This entire presence is imbued with a knowingness, with a cognition. And if you don't like the word knowingness or cognition or Longchen or Swabhavana or nature of mind or Buddha nature, pick any word you like. Most of all, see, recognize there's an aspect of your mind here. It's always a knowingness, even when we're thinking. If I have thoughts about birds right now, oh, ravens are big, beautiful birds. Well, that knowingness, just like a security camera, is just sitting there. That knowingness is just sitting there, and I'm having the thoughts. It's holding all the thoughts. So there's a base cognition. They call it the ground of being or the basis. So the ground of being, as it manifests, constitutes all phenomenon of samsara and nirvana, the world of appearances and possibilities. That is, phenomenon that manifests within the context of that ground. Arising through the avenue of spontaneous presence, they seem to be better or worse than one another, but since they are of one basic space, without the distinction of better or worse, they are beyond being identical or separate. This is termed the realm of naturally occurring timeless awareness. Now, think of it down to a nanoscale if you need to, a plankton scale if you need to. Everything is energy at the baseline. There is no difference between the microphone and the mala when it comes down to its fundamental nature. Okay, so cutting through the three times is a tantra states united as one. Everything is the basic space of oneness. Oneness is without origination, the unborn basic space of phenomenon. The magical displays that are born within unborn basic space are thoroughly indeterminate and completely unrestricted. The all-creating monarch states, everything contained within the universe of appearances and possibilities, such as the kayas, timeless awareness, the positive qualities of Buddhas, and the bodies and habitual patterns of beings, is timelessly the essence of awakened mind. So Longchen is really showing here that the root tantras and all the other tantras back up what he's saying, back up this synthesis that he's presenting here. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much. I think we'll stop there and revisit at the root text, root verses next time. I appreciate you hanging out with me as we go through this. Sometimes it's a little, sometimes it's a lot. And then, are there any final thoughts, comments, questions, anything going on? Yes, Kun-san.
So the way this works, that you start to, well, it's not you, but the ground that's referred to in this text starts to become the identity, and it doesn't matter what the character goes through it because you're the awareness, so it can't make you suffer.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Cool.
there's the appearance of suffering, just like when a doggy's kicking their leg, they think that they're running. It's very convincing. That's why compassion is there. Okay. Anything else going on then before we check out today?
Just one quick thing. Spontaneous means there was no cause. That's true?
Yeah, very good. You can correlate that with empty cognition, with the term or the phrase empty cognition, or the phrase Swabhavika Kaya, and so the union of Dharmakaya and Sambhoga Kaya, and spontaneous presence. Empty cognizance would be more of a modern phrase. So spontaneous means means emptiness essentially, and then presence means cognition, because that knowingness, that cognitive aspect, is purely present. That's how we're able to know that I just said that knowingness is purely present. Because there's a part of our mind that has to be there. Has to be there while you're sleeping, even in the deepest state. There's a knowingness there. And are you in the deep state of sleep more than the knowingness? See, that's why we have the second phase, where we start to familiarize and integrate every experience, especially when we're mad, especially when we're jealous or desirous, especially those moments. Because that means you have integration when you're sick, injured, dying, being born. Oh, not again, being born. Everybody hates that, right? Gotta go from this nice, warm hotel room where you're getting fed and get on the water and everything. Then they evict you for no good reason at all, just because you got a little too big. Wasn't your fault you got too big. All right. That's all childbirth is. It's just an eviction. It's an unjust eviction. We got to fight for babies' rights to stay in the womb. All right. Very good. So we ended with some dad jokes. That's great. Okay, so I think we can end here then with a moment of silence for the dedication. And deep bow to you, everybody. Hope you have a beautiful day.